in January 2020 at the Davos meeting of the World Economic Forum, a wonderful cluster of key players from World Bank, WHO, Gavi, the Gates Foundation, the Wellcome Trust, a few key pharmaceutical companies sat down and said, we're going to make a way to do this, and we're not going to see what happened in 2009 with H1N1 be repeated. Just to remind everybody, most of the world didn't see vaccine against H1N1 until the epidemic was over. We hoarded it in the wealthy countries, and Africa didn't get any doses at all until it had come and gone as an epidemic. So given that was a mild pathogen, and COVID is far more serious pathogen, could this be fixed? So they set up co-vaccine, the idea being a single repository of supplies of vaccine to be managed basically by Gavi and UNICEF, funded by the wealthy world. A certain percentage of all vaccines being produced everywhere would go into this common pile and then be dispersed from there, along with everything that makes vaccination possible: syringes and alcohol swabs and refrigeration devices and so on. And it was, this group thought, we can make this happen. We can. This time will be different. This time we'll bring equity to the field. And I mean, they're all very crushed to see what has actually happened. One estimate I saw came out of the African Union. African Union actually set aside $2 billion for purchase of vaccine. This isn't for lack of resources this time. They have money. But every contract signed for vaccines is signed for the rich world. In some rich world countries, particularly Canada, gets pointed out, have signed enough contracts to vaccinate every single citizen 9 times. Full course vaccination 9 times over. United States has signed enough contracts to surely vaccinate every single man, woman, and child in America several times over. So have most of the Northern European countries. We can't have a situation where the African Union is saying, here's $2 billion. Come on, guys. Here's the cash. Send us the vaccine. And Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, you name the company, and they're all saying, look, I'm sorry, I'd love to help you guys, but we got these other contracts to deal with, and we can't break the deals. We don't have a world order. We don't have a global governance system. And by the way, this then gets even worse if you ask, who's controlling distribution of syringes? Who's controlling the recycling or appropriate disposal of syringes? So that we don't have kids poking themselves, playing on garbage heaps? Who's dealing with the whole supply chain of nucleoside analogs, of polymerases and RNases and all the various things that are necessary to make both diagnostic tests, nucleic acid tests certainly, and vaccines. There's no rational order there at all. When you hear the given vaccine company is having trouble meeting its production quota, it's often because of upstream chemicals and upstream, biologics that they can't get their hands on. And so this fantasy that now I think it's a fantasy that WHO is in of, well, we'll encourage construction of a giant vaccine production capacity in South Africa to offset all this. They're still going to have to get supplies. And if Pfizer can't guarantee a steady chain of essential supplies to make their vaccine, why do we think a company with far less power and resources sitting in the middle of Pretoria is going to be able to do so? So it's gone far beyond the question of who owns the patents, far beyond all these simplistic political issues that get raised with a lot of hand waving and screaming. This is about global order and humanity, and we have neither expressed in the context of how we're controlling or not, or failing to control COVID.